Welcome back, Warrior. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 4 today. And today it is so cold outside. And I had to put on the long garments. But it is now very hot while I'm trying to walk. So we're just going to put that over there. All right. Here we go. We were reading Moses chapter before, but okay, it says, Eve bears Cain and Abel. They offer sacrifices. Cain slays Abel and is cursed by the Lord, who also sets a mark upon him. The children of men multiply. Adam begets Seth, and Seth begets Enos. Okay. I think I'm going to have to bust the glasses out today. Ugh. I really need, why can't glasses just have windshield wipers? Because there's always a smudge somewhere. Okay. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Okay, so sometimes we feel like the Lord was really harsh with Cain, right? Why didn't he just accept his offering? It's just as good, right? And he should be able to just accept it because he's the Lord. And let's be honest, he doesn't really need this stuff to go up into flames anyway. So you might think why, right? And sometimes we might think, well, why can't the Lord just take one ream of paper? It's 10% of the amount of paper that I have in my print shop, right? Or maybe he can take away some of the clothes that I have but that's not what the Lord is asking. The Lord is asking us when we make covenants with him for specific things to sacrifice for him. He has his own reasons for those, but he specifically back then asked people to sacrifice animals. And I am so grateful that I was not born during that time, because I would never have been able to do that. It would have been the hardest thing ever. I would have cried, I'm sure, every time. Especially the little sheep. They kind of look like dogs. Have you seen that picture from, I can't remember what his name is. But he's an online digital artist. And anyway, he's an actual artist, but I only see his stuff digitally on Instagram. Anyway, it's so cute. It's the sheep, and the sheep just looks darling. You just want to snuggle the sheep. But it's I couldn't have done it. And so maybe Cain was a little bit like that. I don't know. But what the Lord asked of him was something specific, to sacrifice something specific for the Lord. And Cain chose not to do that and chose to offer something different. Now, Abel was making covenants with the Lord as well, and he offered the right stuff that the Lord wanted. So that's why I believe that's what it says, that he respected the offering. He accepted it, he respected it. Okay, but for Cain, he didn't, because it wasn't even what the Lord asked for. So it's sometimes when the Lord asks us to do something, we're that should be good enough, right? Because we gave of something else that maybe we thought was better or something. But the Lord was no, I really wanted you to just do this, right? And instead we try to change what it is. And then we're the ones left being sad, or left without feeling like that was acceptable unto the Lord. And so I think poor Cain, we think, oh, why didn't he just do the thing, right? And it could have been hard for it. Why can't we just do the thing too, right? And it feels like sometimes we are really harsh with Cain, or sometimes we're really harsh with the Lord, or, whatever. But it's like Cain had plenty of things he could have traded, right? That's the thing too. Like, yeah, Abel might have seemed like he was a guy who had all the things that the Lord was wanting anyway. And so, of course, it's easier for Abel to give that stuff up, one would say, than Cain. But see, I think it would have been just as hard for Abel, because he got to know these animals and he had to offer them as a sacrifice anyway. And so he got to know them, and it was like a hard sacrifice for Abel. And so why didn't Cain be like, hey, Abel, will you trade me some things, and I'll give you this bounteous food that I have made and grew. I'll trade you this whole basket of food for your sheep, because I need to go sacrifice that guy, because that's what the Lord wants. Like, that's what it would have been, right? But anyways, the Lord did not accept his offering, was not satisfied with it, because it wasn't what the Lord had asked for. And so we need to be obedient. That's like the thing, right? And I think that's what he was trying to teach people at the beginning. Like, let's see how obedient you can be. Okay, and then verse 6, the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? So, first of all, Cain was wroth because his offering was not accepted, right? Or respected, right? And it's like, well, we know the answer there, right? But anyway, like, it's hard because we're not there, right? And as a mom, it would have been hard too, because if I was Cain's mom, I would have been like, dude, like, the Lord asked you to sacrifice this. Why are you giving him something else? But then also, I would have been like, man, that sucks that he doesn't want to accept your offering, because that's what you grow. That's like where your talent and your skills are. But see, now I think it's easier for us to see our skills and our talents, and then we can trade for things that we don't have, right? I feel like with society, the way that it's going, like the way that it's gone, now we know, like, oh, if we need something that we don't have, we buy it or whatever, right? And then we can give of that. But that's not what they had back then. It was just like them. So maybe they didn't even think that they could trade, although I feel like trading would have been like super basic to learn. Anyway, so I'm trying to be open, and I'm trying not to be like, Cain, you're an idiot, right? But at the same time, I don't want to excuse that behavior, because I want to be an obedient child also. I want to be an obedient disciple. And so I'm trying to learn from this example. Right? And so his countenance was fallen, right? It makes sense. Verse 7, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Like, that was not the answer. You were supposed to just trade something with Abel so that he could, have something to give the Lord, that's what he wanted, right? I doubt that Abel would have been like, no, I'm not giving you anything, right? I feel like Abel seems like a nice guy. But who knows, right? Because brothers are brothers, right? So you don't know what they did. Verse 9, but he's a little brother. So I feel like I understand where that could have been going, right? I feel like little brother would have been like, sure, but instigation from Satan, of course. Is that even a word? Instigation. I don't think that's a word. Anyway, Satan be instigating in brothers' relationships, right? And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? Not that the Lord didn't know, but he's trying to, have that confession from Cain. And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Heck yes, you're your brother's keeper. You're the last one with him, right? And who else is going to be his keeper? There's not very many people here, right? It's just like you, your mom, your dad, and maybe a couple other siblings that are not mentioned. I don't know. And there was like wild animals. Like, yeah, we probably needed to watch out for each other and have each other's back. Anyway, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed. So Cain never confessed, even though he got caught. And that means he wasn't repentant. He wasn't repentant of what he had done. And so that means Satan has already taken over his heart. Because why? Men's hearts shall fail them, right? And he says, and now thou art cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield under thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Yeah, because your gifts are given to bless others. And your gifts can be taken away because the Lord's the one who gives us our gifts. And if we use them to abuse or to take advantage, or even like if we use our gifts, or if we don't use our gifts and we use other things the wrong way, like the Lord will cut us off from the gifts that he has given us, right? And behold, thou hast driven me. Okay, hold on. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Yes, because now his gifts no longer work, right? That's all he had. That's probably what he thought was like, that's all I have. That was it, you know? So behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And I don't think I understood that curse until now. Like, Cain is supposed to live and be tortured in his life because of what he did. He is not allowed to die. That's an easy out. Right? He has to live and not be able to use his skill and his experience and his talents to be able to bring forth anything good. And so therefore, like, he's just supposed to be tortured like that in life, because I think the Lord wants to teach him, like, hey, you relied on Satan and he can't give you anything. So now you're left to yourself, right? So if anybody slays Cain, like, you are cursed sevenfold. That is bad aim. And I bet like that rumor had to spread real fast, you know, like, do not kill him, even though he might want to be dead. Right? And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehujael, and Mehujael begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. Oh, finally. He has cattle from his grandson. Is that what I'm reading? And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. See, what could you sacrifice there? You'd have to trade, right? And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man in my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Okay, so there's lots of stuff there. And it looked like Eve had another son named Seth. So we have Cain, Abel, and then Seth. So, that would be so sad too, right? Like, you literally are the first people on the earth, and what happens in the first bit of life is you kill your brother? What the heck? Like, you guys are supposed to be best friends. There's nobody else here. Like, yeah. How are we doing this? Like, I would have been so mad. I'd have been like, he's your buddy. What are we aiming at? Anyway, so let's not kill your brother. That's bad. And no, we can't even blame it on video games, because they didn't have any back then. So, all right. Well, that is it for Genesis chapter 4. Great. Yeah. And we will be reading Moses chapter 4 soon. So, I wanted to read one thing real quick. Okay, so I did want to read this. It's from our Don't Miss This book. And it says, where are you spiritually right now? Are you running toward or away from God, and why? What have you learned about God through your mistakes and through your most challenging experiences? I think it's interesting to note that that Cain did not realize the consequence of his actions, right? Satan did not outline all the consequences, like this is going to happen, and this, depending on what you choose. These are things that are going to happen. He's never going to give us those options. And I'm guessing that if those things would have been laid out for him, he would have chose differently. But again, these are like the first people to ever walk, right? And it's like, of course they were going to make mistakes. I mean, there were no parenting books. There was no, what's it called? There's no therapist there to help us. There's no, the Book of Mormon, definitely not there. I remember after I had all my kids, I read the Book of Mormon to help me because I needed to get through the baby blues season. I didn't want to experience that. I didn't want to have that. And so, sometimes we judge people harshly because we don't know their situation. And so I try to put myself in their shoes just so that I can have a little bit more compassion, a little bit more mercy, and to identify like where they were weak and to learn, right? Like, where did they go wrong? Where did they not choose to go with God? And where did they not allow God to prevail in their lives? And so it seems like really easy and basic for us because we have all of the things that we have now, but it was different for them. Okay. And then another question, do you see your mistakes as places where you've met Jesus or as places you hide from him? Right. That was something that both Adam and Eve did, and Cain did after he killed Abel, right? It's like they tried to hide. And why is that, right? Why is it that Satan always tries to tempt us with hiding? And how can we better trust God's heart and character when we feel tempted to hide from him? How can we better trust God's heart and character? I love those. Good questions. Okay. Until Moses chapter 4, stay strong, warrior.